our next reader is Jack Kaulfus. Right, Jack? Oh, there he is. Jack is a writer and English teacher at the Griffin School. They graduated from the MFA program at Texas State and are currently working on a novel titled Blood Makes Noise. They also sing and perform with the Porch Grass Band, Brand New Key. Please help me welcome Jack.
Thanks, y'all. And thanks to Kirk for putting this all together. It's really nice. It's a really nice way to end the year. So this is part of a novel called Blood Makes Noise, and it's about a girl who, or a young woman who buries her mother. She dies first, but and then she gets convinced by this man named Victor to come with her. She's in the mourning process, and she gets convinced by this guy named Victor to come with her to this organic farm in Georgia, which is also just kind of a cult, but she doesn't really know that. So anyway, he thinks that she can help heal some of the people who have fallen ill. So this scene is where she's just taken this pharmacological cocktail thing that is supposed to sort of start up these healing powers. All right, so I woke up in the grass. My skin was distinctly delicate, as if it had been replaced with a fine, strong spider web. Wrapped like this, I was protected from the rain, though I could feel it falling. I opened my eyes to see the sky, maybe the naked tree limbs against the clouds, but instead I found myself newly aware of the way my organs bloomed through tissue, muscle, and sinew holding bone to bone. It was like I had grown 1,000 internal eyes, 1,000 pinpricks of sight. I sat up. The prettiest light flooded the field before me, illuminating each blade of grass in the rain. Above me, thick, ashy clouds blocked my view of the stars and the moon, and the lights of the farmhouse were far up the hill. The wind picked up, and I breathed it in, and I could see the oxygen fill my blackened lungs, brightening my capillaries like tiny Christmas lights. When I stood, the light on the grass lengthened. When I stepped forward, the light moved with me. I used the eyes in my face to look at my hands, which shook a little with fear or excitement, I couldn't tell which. I used the eyes inside to look at the joint of a thumb I'd broken in a high school volleyball game. My body was filled with the same sourceless light that surrounded me, and an angry-looking line spiraled around the flat part of the knuckle and disappeared into the fold beneath the ligament. Well, no wonder it ached every winter. It just hadn't healed right. I walked toward the lake, watching my step, watching the way the cartilage between my vertebrae flattened with each step downhill. If I changed my focus, I could move down my leg, following the artery straight into my heel, where a spur had been calcifying for the past couple of years. On the dock, I knelt carefully and ducked under the railing. The water, rippled by mist and wind, still held my reflection. There was my face, there was my cornea, my vein, my bone, my brain, my nucleus wall, my neuron. There I was. If it was a dream, it would likely end soon, I thought. If a dream, I could ask all those questions that had no answers in real life, like where's my mom in all this? Weren't my cells originally hers? I pulled myself back to my feet and leaned against the railing of the dock, closing my physical eyelids and concentrating on the shape of the cells inside my beating heart. I felt sure she would be hidden away there somewhere if there was anything of her left. My heart pumped steadily, if unceremoniously, and my mother was nowhere, of course, again. Victor's voice cut through the beginning of a full body search. It's raining, he said, his face close enough to mine to catch my light. He was wearing a yellow slicker, the hood pulled up. He had another one in his hand. I don't know if I'm dreaming, I said. Victor draped the slicker around my shoulders. You're not dreaming. I slid my arms into the sleeves. I can see everything inside my body, I said quietly. I can see my esophagus. Let's go inside, Victor said kindly. He took my arm and I watched the molecules in my skin expand beneath the heat of his fingers. Tristan was on the porch. Tristan's the guy who made the cocktail, watching us come up the hill. If he could see inside my body as well, he did not say anything about it. She's all right, Victor said to Tristan as we followed him into the kitchen. Victor filled the electric kettle with water. What do I do now? I asked. He said, you study, you do your work, and then we wait. No, I don't understand what to do right now, I said louder than I meant to. Panic was starting to build in my stomach, and it looked like a churning lake of acid. I heard it, then the hellish roil of my stomach, and I clamped my jaws shut. Tristan motioned for me to sit down at the table while Victor pulled the electric kettle off its stand. The roiling slowed as I focused on the kettle. The water in the kettle was boiling, not my stomach. The sound was outside me, but the panic was inside me. I shut my eyes and took a deep breath. I heard Tristan call for Risha while I stared at the map of the veins in the back of my eyelids. Upstairs, Risha helped me to bed and put her hand on my forehead. She told me to close my eyes, so I did. Then she told me to close all of the eyes, and she put her other hand on my breastbone, and the pressure was fine and safe, and it drew the attention of all those internal eyes. Then it was dark finally, and I fell asleep under her palms. When I awoke in the morning, it took me a bit to remember where I was and why I couldn't see anything right. Risha told me that downstairs there would be relief. At the breakfast table, images of the food on my plate winked in and out as I ate, alternating with images of the food making its way down into my stomach. I tried to focus, to be the master of my own attention, but I couldn't turn away from anything anymore. The longer I sat there, the more confused I became. My voice box was like another giant eye at the top of my throat, and I did not want to see it open. Risha noticed, thankfully, and put her hand on my leg under the table, a wave of calm running up my thigh into my chest. Tristan sat down next to me at the table and offered me a small blue pill. It'll smooth the edges, he said, dropping the pill into my palm. I swallowed the pill and watched little parts of it begin to immediately dissolve at the back of my throat. I can see my esophagus, I whispered to Victor. The eye of my larynx opened and I shut my mouth again. You told me, he said, it must get a lot of action. Thank you.